Hello, so in this video I'm going to show you how to create watercolor effects on a photograph using Photoshop, and also the same technique can be used in Photo P as well. So to get started, I'm just going to open up a image. I'm going to use this image right here, and the first thing we want to do is convert to smart object in my layers. So I'm going to right click on my layer here and convert to smart object. There we go. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start applying different filters to this image. I'm going to first start off with a dry brush. So open up your filter gallery and click on the dry brush right here. Your brush size you want at 10, brush detail 10, texture at 1. Hit OK. It slightly changed my image, looked a little bit more like an illustration. We're going to go back up into our filter again, and we're going to go back to this filter. Don't click on this one because it'll just redo the same one. We're going to click back on the filter gallery here, and we're going to go to cutout this time. And the presets we're going to use for cutout is the number of levels is going to be 5. Edge simplicity, we're going to make 4. And edge fidelity is 1. Hit OK. So this made another filter which gives it a cutout effect. Now we're going to change our blending mode in the cutout effect, right? So right here, this should be our cutout effect here. I'm going to double click on this little change mode icon, and it's going to allow me to change the mode. So in this mode, I'm going to change it to pin light, and then I'm going to drop the opacity. Actually, I'm going to keep the opacity at 100 here. Okay. Now I'm going to go back up to my filters again. I'm going to add a blur. So I'll go to blur, and it's going to be a smart blur. And here we want to make our blur with a radius of 5, threshold 100. It's already set that way. Quality high. Let's hit OK. Okay, blurry. And then we're going to go back to our mode icon down here again, double click, and we're going to change our mode and our opacity. So our mode we're going to change to screen. The opacity we are going to change to 50%. Okay. Now we're going to go up to another filter. We're going to apply a new filter. Going to go down to stylize, and we're going to go to find edges. Okay, and that gave us edges of our picture, which makes it look like a pencil contour drawing. And then we're going to go in our find edges mode and change that as well. We're going to double click on the icon, and once that comes up, we're going to change the mode to multiply. And we're going to leave the opacity at 100. Okay, now we're kind of set up to create a watercolor painting from this image right now. So the next thing you want to do is have a texture, watercolor texture, which I have here. It's also going to be in the classroom folder for you to use as well. So I'm going to open up this watercolor texture. I'm going to select it, copy it, and then I'm going to paste it into my image, a new layer in my image, and I'm just gonna make it smaller. Could stretch it a little bit, doesn't matter. Okay, zoom in, back in again, And then in this layer, we're going to change this layer mode right here. We could change it right here. We're going to put a multiply. What multiply does is it basically takes out the white and makes it a transparent like filter, like it's a transparency. So if you were to draw on a transparent piece of paper, it wouldn't be white, it would be clear. So that's pretty much what's happening there. Next we're going to do is add a layer mask to our original layer, right? So we're going to go down to here in our layer mask, add the layer mask. What we want to do now is we want to convert this layer mask to black, and to do that you hover over it, hold down Command and press I. If you press it again, it goes back and forth. So we want to convert this to black right here, and we want to remain in this layer mask right here. You can't see the picture right now because it's covered by the paper texture, but what we're going to use is a brush to reveal the painting underneath and make nice soft edges also. So what we want to do is go to our brushes, and you can look at the brush settings in the panel here, and you could kind of pick, customize your brush if you want. Maybe you want to put on some wet edges to make it look more like a watercolor. Maybe add a texture. You could try different things to see what you want to do. I'm just going to keep wet edges on there, and then I'm going to go into my brush here. Maybe the hardness you could change, the size you could change in here, and then up here you have the options to make it more or less opaque. This opaque means that it's less transparent or more transparent, and then the flow is how much pressure of the brush you put on. If you're using a tablet, you could click on this and it helps you control the pressure on the tablet. But for now, I'm just going to quickly use this brush to reveal the layer under the mask. And this is pretty much how you want to interpret your watercolor painting. So mine has wet edges. I'm holding down my mouse and I'm just kind of going around to reveal the picture, and I don't want to go right to the edge because I want to make it look like it's kind of a painting, right? So you could see that the edges are wet over here, like it's giving it that. And since I have my opacity down, it only revealed some of it, so maybe I'm going to go and take the wet edges off, right, in my brush presets. And I don't want the wet edges to be on anymore, but I'm going to go and reveal a little bit more. It's like a little more opacity to reveal. And this is pretty much, you decide how you want this to be. You really want to like draw the attention more to the focal point, the face, the middle of the face. You want to reveal that the most, and then whatever's around here you can like slowly reveal. You can also, if you drop your opacity, you make your brush size bigger, make the hardness really soft. You can soften your edges more. You could really exaggerate. It's really preference. So I'm going in. Okay? So there you go. There is your basic watercolor painting. I can zoom in a little bit so you could see. It looks more like a painting here. You have the watercolor texture over it. I could click on and off so you can see what that watercolor paper does to it. And you could drop the opacity if it's too much, right? Really, you have full control over what you want to do. But basically, this is the effect that we're going for.